Welcome to the special episode of the Emerging CyberSec Professional Series at the Coffee Conversation Show, powered by the Emerging India Forum TIF and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is Guarding the Digital Frontier, Akshay Garkel on Cybersecurity Leadership and Strategy. We are today at Grant Thornton Mumbai office, and let's introduce our speaker, Akshay Garkel, partner and leader, cyber at Grant Thornton Bharat LLP, whose career spanning over 2.5 decades across India, APAC, and the Middle East has shaped him into a trusted leader in cybersecurity. From securing financial institutions to building resilient teams and driving large-scale digital trust strategies, Akshay's journey is a blend of deep technical expertise and business leadership. Join us as we dive into his insights on the future of cybersecurity, balancing risk with growth, and leading teams in an ever evolving digital world. And we also come to know Akshay as a person. So, welcome, Akshay, to today's Ganesh Chaturthi special episode.
Thank you, Amir, and thank you to the Coffee Conversation Show for inviting me. Really, thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
So, let me explain you. There will be 3 rounds: professional, personal, and a surprise rapid fire round where you will be in the hot seat. And this is your gift. You have already gone through, but you will get it.
Thank you.
And with my autograph, I know you will crack it.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Corner, legal tech evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. We help law firms, corporate legal, startup SMEs with world-class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So, my first question, Akshay, with over 25 years in cybersecurity, how has your perspective on the industry evolved from when you started to now?
Thank you, Amir. Great question. I can tell you, when cybersecurity essentially came into being, there was a lot of information security. There were guardrails, there were perimeters, and then slowly, gradually, the perimeters essentially started disappearing. And various aspects of accessing information came into play. We had, from a desktop which would not move to internet connection to the desktop. From there, then laptops started coming into play, and then the mobile phones. But the mobile phones were still, devices which only had the keypad on them. But then slowly, gradually, those also started becoming heavy computing devices. And then as the internet speed started catching up, you know, applications which essentially started getting available on mobile phones. And that's how the perimeter started disappearing. And basis that, cybersecurity saw a paradigm shift, right, from information security to network security, and then of course infrastructure, cloud, etc., that came into play. And then pure play cyber, essentially, where we used to hear about hacking way back in 2000, and now essentially it's become a norm, and the hacking attempts are getting more and more sophisticated as time progresses. So that's where the paradigm shift has happened.
Beautiful. So, let's dive deep in conversation, Akshay. Cybersecurity is no longer a siloed function. It's embedded in business strategy. How do you convince leadership teams to invest in proactive security measures?
Yeah, I think when you look at the convincing perspective, I don't think there is too much of effort required to convince businesses today, because there is so much of a brand reputation loss, financial losses as an impact. The risk is very high, and in fact today, Amir, if I can tell you, in boards of companies, cybersecurity forms a part of the top 3 risk of discussion at the business level. So from that standpoint, the awareness is already there. There is actually a worry, and boards are asking 3 questions. Are we really prepared and secure enough? If at all we are going to be attacked, or attack happens, can we avert it? If at all we are not able to avert and there is an impact, then can we come out of it as soon as possible with bare minimal impact? Right? These are some of the questions which are being asked, and hence it is important that security by design is something that one really needs to imbibe or adopt as an organization, and that's how you basically get your cyber objective aligned to your organization's objective and thereby the business objective.
Wow. So, Akshay, financial institutions often top the list of cyber attack targets. How do you approach creating robust defense strategies for such high stake clients?
Yeah. So, uh, organizations in the financial services domain, you look at organizations which are government entities or organizations which hold are of national critical importance to the country today, right? uh, those organizations of course are in the high risk category, and a lot of targeted attacks today happen on to those organizations. So organizations, as they say, have to be one step ahead, right? And the strategy is very clear that do not undermine the adversaries. It could not be only humans, but it could be bots sitting on the other side trying to attack you. And from that perspective, do we have the systems? Do we have the right investments? Do we have the correct level of fine tuning? Do we have the people who have the essential skills to kind of manage my cybersecurity as a function? And at the same time, am I looking at compliance not only on paper but also in spirit?
Wow. So, Akshay, with your experience across India, APAC, and the Middle East, how do cultural and regulatory environments shape cybersecurity approaches?
I think it's a brilliant question, and if you look at culture, it is extremely, extremely important, and
Yeah,
it definitely differs from region to region.
yes,
We have actually seen, Amir, that the nature of attacks at geography level as well is also very different.
yes,
We've also seen, where um, the regulatory perspective of each country also has their view. Um, some of the countries, depending on the history of the attacks, history of the damage that cyber attacks have more and more stringent regulatory circulars, and rightfully so. That should be there.
yes,
In India, if I can tell you, our regulators are ahead of the game, and they are not only they work from a point in time perspective, but they are absolutely there from a continuous cycle. And lot of effort essentially has is going to kind of make sure that there is enough systemic stability, there is data integrity which is preserved, and customer protection, right? That's the key. Customer protection is important. So if I am in a client service and I'm not able to protect my customer's interest, and because of any cyber attack that interest gets compromised, then obviously there's a challenge, and that's where the regulators step in beautifully to kind of make sure that all of that is addressed.
beautiful. Akshay, let's go memory down the lane. Can you share a complex cybersecurity challenge you have handled and the lessons learned from it?
I don't think we really need to go down the memory lane. There are challenges which we face on daily basis, and in Grant Thornton Bharat, I can tell you, we are well poised to kind of handle those issues. Of course, as they say, rough seas make good sailors.
Yes.
It is important to also go through that experience, and then don't keep that experience to yourself, but share it as a learning across the board, right? Without dwelling, without compromising the confidentiality of the scenario. Now, there have been a lot of instances where we have gone through various challenging environments. We've seen, so we basically do 24/7 monitoring of cyber incidents. We have threat intelligence systems. We also have a fair amount of automation to kind of pick up the needle from the haystack and do good amount of correlation of the threats. And the threat correlation is not only within the environment but also with the external threat landscape. And how do we kind of correlate that? Because that also gives us a benchmarked environment, a perspective, right? So, we come across a lot of these situations where cyber attacks are continuously happening at a given point in time, especially distributed denial of service attacks or a social because of a social engineering attack. uh, you know a malicious script is already sitting in the environment. In some instances we've seen that how those malicious files sit in the environment, they start sending a lot of confidential information out, and once there is enough uh, information to hold the organization to ransom, a ransomware is triggered, and basis that the systems get arrested, and then to release those systems there is a demand in bitcoins or any of those ledgers which organizations need to pay. So we understand those situations, and we kind of pick up the needle from the haystack from step one itself, because we know that if we if this has happened, then what would be the next sequence of steps which can lead to a ransomware or a very high impact. So that's what I can tell you, living this on daily basis. And the team is absolutely tuned to kind of pick up these attacks and kind of go ahead and arrest them, or you know um, make sure that the impact is bare minimal.
Wow. So, Akshay, how did your experience at Queensland University of Technology shape your perspective to global cybersecurity?
Right. So this was I think way back in 2004, 2005. And of course, exposure essentially was there. More than anything else, what I really got to learn was diverse cultures. Also got to interact with foreign students.
Mhm.
Also basically looked at the perspective in terms of how the subject essentially is being applied. And we've seen that it was less of theory and more of applications. And that applied perspective is very important in terms
Mm.
of not looking at only the input, but also to see that what the output can actually translate into. So that is more from the academic perspective. Apart from that, on a lighter note, Queensland has got very good beaches, and uh, there was a good amount of work-life balance, is what I would say.
Wow, beautiful. First week work-life balance while studying. Good one. Okay. So actually you manage a profit and loss, practice building, and client delivery simultaneously. How do you balance business leadership with deep subject matter expertise?
Right, I think it's a great question, and there has to be a fine balance, I believe, that between business alignment and expertise. One always needs to continue to learn. The learning should never stop, because technology is so fast evolving today that what you essentially had uh, maybe few quarters in the past would essentially be passe, and you need to kind of upgrade yourself. So learning is something which is ever evolving. So from a business perspective, of course, uh, while we look at practice management, uh, but there has to be again a balance between making sure that no business is making a loss. At the end of the day,
Mm.
you want to make profits. At the same time, you want to have sustained growth. And today, what businesses are really looking at is how organizations like us can add value. How do we become a trusted advisor, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, how do we bring the right subject matter expertise in terms of solving a problem, right? So applying all of these lenses aligned with deep technical understanding or subject matter understanding is the need of the hour. And how do we balance it? I think it's a daily challenge, and you need to have some time to go and think strategic while you run the operations on a tactical level. And that strategy essentially, while you build one strategy, but important to kind of revisit your strategy to see whether you're on par or not to that.
Wow. So Akshay, how do you keep your team motivated in such a high pressure, constantly evolving domain?
Yeah, I think pressure is definitely there, and it's not the pressure only. It's basically the nature of the profession and also the nature of the work that we do. Right, hackers will not look at the time schedule. At today is a bank holiday, and hence we should not initiate any such attacks. Right, so that's the nature of the. But how do we keep people motivated? I think there are various ways of looking at it. One is how do you constantly uh, give them the food for thought,
Mhm.
and that means that people who are passionate about cybersecurity always want to be constantly challenged, and they want to learn more and more. They want to acquire new skills, right? So from that perspective, how do you kind of help them put on the training path, certification path, and how do they basically grow as a subject matter expert? That's one. Second is there is definitely a tendency of operations fatigue. So how do you kind of build enough resilience within the team so that bandwidths don't start getting choked, right? Third is given from a Grant Thornton perspective, we really value culture. So how do we kind of imbibe the tenets of culture in their DNA to kind of make sure that there is enough collaboration, there is respect for each other, and also looking at uh, if you fail, I fail sort of an approach. Last but not the least, how do we push them to become leaders of tomorrow, right? And when I say push, it's in a nice way, in a positive way, that how do you coach them, how do you mentor them, how do you maintain that communication channel at all times, right? And I think at Grant Thornton Bharat, we've been doing this for as a virtue of our tenets of our culture, and we have the all hands discussions. We even network. We even step out for lunches and dinners, depending on how time permits, and also build that personal rapport with each other rather than only the rapport from a work perspective. And the firm is genuinely concerned about work-life balance, and from that perspective, there are a lot of programs, a lot of webinars which keep happening to talk about work-life balance, talk about health first, talk about different perspectives on hobbies as well, right? We have a book club, we have a cricket club, we have a golfing club, right? So, and all the professionals are more than engaged in terms of being subscribed to those clubs. So
Wow.
yeah, few of the anecdotes here.
Beautiful. So one of the law firm also the book club. So that is very interesting. How you're encouraging up now, you're bonding over what do you say, books, events, sports.
Absolutely. And I can tell you, we don't have a boss culture. We
Wow.
don't have a pyramid. We have a constellation. And as we basically, gain vintage in the practice, we essentially, uh, become super coaches, co-super coaches. We are in the middle, and we try to, cast positive influence. And that positive influence is something that kind of magnifies and kind of gets into a positive domino effect, and then it goes right up to the last mile, or somebody who's just started their career with us.
Wow, beautiful. So, Akshay, you were recently part of panel discussion on cybersecurity in the age of AI, building trust and governance at scale, organized by ASOCAM. What are the key learnings? This is my first question. And how is AI impacting the field of cybersecurity?
Yeah,
And the second
sure,
one.
sure. No, I think when you look at AI and cyber, there are two things. One is cyber and AI, and the other is AI and cyber, right? And both are very different to each other. If you look at businesses today, the way they are adopting AI, they're adopting AI for various objectives, to improvise their efficiency, have a leaner go-to-market timeline, make sure that your internal processes are optimized, so that and they're simplified, bring in a fair amount of automation and decision making capability, right, on the fly. All of those are advantages, but at the same time, what happens is when you build all of these systems through AI, your attack surface also starts changing, and hence how do you kind of bring in the cyber view there. The other is when you actually run cybersecurity operations and you're trying to pick up the needle from the haystack, you also need to understand what your adversary essentially would be doing and what could be the modus operandi there. So, solutions which are AI driven solutions will help you to kind of improvise your tactics, strategy, to address those attacks and try to protect them. So that's the balance between the two, and I think that's the key takeaway. uh, you know we are in the early days, and I can tell you that there's going to be a lot of sophistication in businesses thanks to AI. When it started off, it was a good to have. Now it's slowly gradually moving to a must have sort of a scenario, because my competition today is using a lot of AI and benefiting. their go-to market is much faster than mine, and hence I also need to adopt.
Wow.
Yeah.
So my next question is related to technology again. What emerging technologies or trends are you most excited or cautious about in the cybersecurity space?
I think we already spoke about AI, and that is something that one
Only
really
AI,
needs to
or
be.
are there any other trends?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And there are various other trends, like for example, zero trust, right? Now, zero trust is also moving. Quantum security is something that one needs to watch out for. Then cryptography, essentially, where you have the ledger is not legal in our country, but of course, you know we still have applications which essentially, and then of course, last but not the least, digital experience essentially is also moving to the next level. So basically, looking at cyber from that standpoint as well. Operational technology and IT are converging. The convergence started way back, but there is still a lot of scope for convergence. So from that standpoint as well, important to look at the cyber trend.
Wow. So Akshay, you have been a keynote speaker, various events. How do you? I'm dividing into two parts. Uh, how do you plan your keynote sessions, and what has been the most memorable moment?
Right. So, keynote sessions are generally the sessions where we kind of talk about, and it's not only keynote but any address that you
Anyhow.
do, right? Talk about what is the current state. What is it that you would like to kind of share? How do you put an experience to the table so that the learning is there? And at the same time, there is always an element of awareness, right? That what is it that you want the audience to kind of take as a takeaway, right? In terms of where do I need to apply what for the subject that you're basically addressing. Um, One of the latest experience that I can share with you is a presentation which was done on AI had only videos, and the videos essentially were so informative. There was a video on deep fake. There was a video on superimposing my picture in a movie, and then you can actually see an Akshay Garkel actually be a part of the movie, but in when that was purely AI driven, right? So those are some of the things that and every address is an experience, Amir. I'll put it that way, because the kind of questions that I get asked, the kind of interactions I have, and it's not only an interaction on the stage, but it's also offline as well.
Yes.
And you get to hear so many perspectives.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, as I mentioned in the beginning of our discussion as well, one must always continue to learn. And the moment you feel you're a student, trust me, there's so much of knowledge that you can acquire. And that is something that I really value and cherish.
Wow. So I saw your recent post where you commented IRDA in its recent circular has mentioned about the need for digital forensic experts for insurers and intermediaries.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about this circular?
Yeah, so more than the circular, I think it's the intent,
Yes,
where
very much.
there is a rise of cyber attacks in the insurance industry,
Yeah.
and the readiness quotient of the insurance companies has to improve, and the needle has to go up, and hence rightfully so. IRDA essentially has mandated organizations in the insurance sector to make sure that uh, they have already identified the forensic experts and pre-signed, so that at any point in time, if there is a cyber attack or any investigation intervention required, they can start the investigation at the earliest, and that's the intention.
Wow, beautiful. So now government is also taking up initiatives and the various institutions. That's interesting.
Absolutely.
So my last question for your professional journey around Akshay, for young professional aspiring to enter cybersecurity today, what skills and mindsets would you recommend they should develop?
I think first and foremost, there are three areas. One is business, second is cyber, and third is technology, right? And probably fourth is, let's also talk about governance, right? So governance is also important. So understanding of all of these over time is important. what skills. Now, depending on what area, because cyber is a ocean. I would say there are so many areas. Like you have an audit, you have compliance, you have implementation, you have managed services. These are various flavors of engagement where you can actually get involved. From a cyber perspective as well, there are various lenses which are applied. Whether you talk about an ISMS, you talk about strategy governance, you talk about third party risk, data privacy, vulnerability management, penetration testing, looking at just evaluating the entire architecture within an environment, or looking at cyber operations and things like that, right? So whether you want to do come in from an audit standpoint, you want to come in to implement all the technologies, or you want to come in to kind of manage them, different lenses apply. But my advice to the new incoming talent who are looking at cyber, please do not look at it as a 9 to 5. It is, as they say, secure by design. It is passion by design, right?
Wow.
The passion has to be there, and you need to love what you're doing, right? And that's what we would say. And again, in Grant Thornton Bharat, we really uh, want to make sure that people who are driven by passion, we keep igniting it and keep fueling it. That's very important.
Beautiful. So let's go to the next round and understand Akshay as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
Right. So, first of all, I'll put it this way: family is supportive. Whatever I have achieved is thanks to my family, because had they not kept patience, I wouldn't be able to put in so many hours. And at work, we say you get as good as your team gets, and at home, you say as good as your family supports you, right? So, I think thankful to my father, my mother, my wife, kids, my sister, my aunt. I think all of them have played a major role in whatever I am today. Thank you.
Wow, beautiful. So Akshay, when you're immersed in the digital realm, how do you unplug and relax?
Oh, that's a tough one. That's a very tough one. So I'll put it this way, right? If we are able to avert an attack, or we are able to create a client experience that relaxes me, so I don't need to be off the plug there, right? I think for us, if we are able to add value to any business, and we are able to make a difference there, that gives an immense level of satisfaction. So, yes, unplug is important, but unplug is only important when you really start facing the heat and you're stressed out, right? But just to give you an answer to your question, sorry, I probably gave you a consulting answer, but just to
I
give
know
you the
you're
answer to your question, so I take part in animal rescue work. At the same time, I also have started reading of late a lot of areas beyond cyber. So that's the inquisitive quotient, and then I listen to a lot of videos. And apart from that, I love interacting with my children. So try to spend time. I won't use the word quality, but try to spend time. And they have a lot of questions, Amir.
Yes.
And sometimes, you may not have answers on the fly. So looking for those answers in terms of, is also another thing which also I try to spend time on.
So
So
you
that's
should
what is happening in today, right now, I
wow.
would say, in the recent past.
So you should watch that. We have that panel discussion on Father's Day. So
Okay.
you'll get a lot of tips because we covered four speakers. One senior whose children started working, then apna your teenagers, then 7 years old and 3 years old.
Very interesting.
So
Absolutely. I'm
you'll
going to have a
get
look. Thank you so much for that.
so we are the first one to initiate conversation on Father's Day. So that's a very memorable part.
Nice.
Okay. So you said about the books. Is there a book or movie that deeply influenced your thinking?
Yeah. So there's a title which says that do not believe in everything that you think, right? That basically essentially has been there's something that I really has made a positive influence. There's another book by the name of the That One. What it basically talks about is, um, uh, sorry, my bad. The Power of Now.
Ah,
The Power
ah,
of Now, and that basically talks about, there are smaller things which can be done on immediate basis. You really don't need to make it a mini science project by writing it down, and then your stack of activities really grows, and then you get overwhelmed that you have so much work to do. So that's another book that is very good. And there's another title by the name of How Do You Create uh, it says, sorry, giving up leadership to create more leaders. So I think it's somewhat like that. So that's another book which actually taught me the art of stepping back and enabling others. And that actually was a milestone in my growth journey. And and that book was gifted by our CEO. And fantastic book, I can tell you.
wow,
Brilliant. Yeah.
beautiful. Okay. So, Akshay, you have lived and worked across multiple countries. Which one felt most like home away from home?
India, no place like India. Absolutely.
Yes, that's a beautiful answer. Okay. Okay. So, my last questions will be on a reflection part. Uh, what are your, since there are few months remaining, what are your plans for 2025 personally and professionally?
Look, professionally, I think I've already answered in my some of the answers that I gave, that our experience of making sure that we kind of elevate the experience of our clients, we elevate the experience of our people, right? And our ecosystem is something which will be the will always be there. On a personal front, of course, we are. I want to learn as much, and every year, if I'm able to add at least five topics in a year, I think that is of immense satisfaction. And apart from that, also looking at some level of spirituality now. So from a spirituality perspective, to kind of see how do we kind of become better humans, and how do we kind of enable others in terms of any help that they may need in our capacity. We may not, in our capacity, whatever best we can do. I think those are the things that I would
Wow, beautiful.
respond from your question standpoint.
Beautiful. So, this is a little surprising for you. If your friend had to describe you in 3 words, what would it be?
My friends,
Yeah.
uh, all right. So okay, depending on, so okay, I have like childhood friends, I've got college friends, and I've got friends at work, right? So yeah, it's so okay. So the first thing that comes to me would be boring, right? Because right now, you know. Get less time to socialize with them. So boring is something. But a second would be inquisitive. I've always been inquisitive, and third would be I have a I would say obsessive compulsive disorder. For example, if this book is kept like this, I would always go ahead and make it straight. So, and that's a very bad habit. So, my recommendation to the viewers: please do not do it and do not have that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, these are the three things I would say. You
Wow.
said friends, right? So
Yeah, yeah. From friend's viewpoint,
yeah,
there is a last one is there. It is from your viewpoint. So hold on.
yeah.
Okay. Uh, what legacy would you like to leave behind?
Um, Good one. So one is, I also want to write a book very soon, and
So I'll do a check-in.
looking forward to. I hope one of the days. I don't know when, but yes, that's one of my bucket list.
Wow. Okay.
Second is, I would love to mentor and coach. I generally like to mentor and coach.
Beautiful.
So that is one thing, that the habit of while you mentor and coach, you also kind of imbibe the culture of that person mentoring and coaching the next in line, right? And so on and so forth. So that will start, hopefully that should start a chain reaction, or that would continue a chain reaction. I don't think we're in the starting of that phase. These are the two legacies. And third is, that's what I keep telling my children, that you need to be good human beings, value system and culture. So that's the third piece. Yeah.
So I'm asking you this. This was not intended, but it is coming from Babaji. What message will you give to your children?
Yeah, I've already, that's what I said, right? So
Something more emotional. You want to do something which they can remember you and watch you in person on video. If you want to do that, you're getting an opportunity.
So,
very few speakers get the opportunity, because I don't know how this question comes on.
yeah. So, what would you like to leave for your children? As I said, be
Message,
good human
anything.
beings. Yeah, messages. Be good
Anything you
human
want.
beings.
Take
Second
time if you
is,
want.
please, do what you like, right? Find passion in your work. And third is, always love your family, especially your father.
Your wife.
That is on a lighter note. Yeah.
Fine. We'll ask her. Okay, what message she
I'm
wants
sure
to give when I come over.
whenever
to your
she
place.
sees this video.
Okay. So since this is Ganesh Chaturthi special episode, what message would you like to give to our viewers out there?
Yeah, I think, one is, of course, we welcome Bappa to the city and the state and the country. While his blessings are always there with all of us, and he should bless us all. And apart from that, the city is going to be as vibrant as ever every year during those 11 days. So yeah, enjoy the festival.
Wow. So my last one is googly one. From your viewpoint, describe Akshay in one line.
As I said, inquisitive, has a compulsive disorder, is trying to work on it, and yeah, passionate about his subject, and loves to interact with people.
Beautiful. So let's go to the next round, the rapid fire round, and we put Akshay in the hot seat. Your go-to comfort food:
Tandoori chicken.
cloud security or on-premise security?
Cloud security.
The one cybersecurity myth you did love to bust.
So cyber is not only the CISO problem; it's an organization-wide problem.
Beautiful. A skill every cybersecurity professional must have.
Passion.
Wow. Your favorite color?
Black. I'm wearing one.
Best piece of advice received?
Work with people who are smarter than you.
Beautiful. Best Punjabi food cuisine?
Butter chicken.
One word that describes your journey?
I'm not done yet. There's lots more to come.
Wow. Hackathon or boardroom strategy sessions?
Hackathon at the boardroom strategy session.
Diploma. Tea or coffee to recharge?
Tea.
Let's discuss.
Cheers.
And you did well. And here's a gift.
Thank you. I'm going to definitely read this. Thank you so much.
And it has been autographed. So I know every speaker does it. Wins the round.
Thank you.
So as we wrap up today's conversation on this special episode of Ganesh Chaturthi with Akshay, one truth shines through cybersecurity is not just about technology. It's about trust, foresight, and resilience. Akshay's journey from shaping defenses for financial institutions to mentoring global teams demonstrates how true leadership blends deep expertise with the ability to inspire and protect in an unpredictable digital era. His insights reminds us that while threats will continue to evolve, so will opportunities for collaboration, innovation, and growth. To every emerging cybersecurity professional listening, Akshay leaves behind a blueprint. Stay curious, stay resilient, and above all, never stop learning. Thank you for joining us on this emerging cybersec professional series at the Coffee Con Show. Until next time, let's continue guarding the digital frontier together. Thank you.